If I woke up overweight again, I would get jacked in a completely different way. A way I only figured out after spending hundreds of hours in the gym trying every diet and doing all the research. What I discovered after 3 years of working out might surprise you because most of the popular social media advice is actually holding you back. If you want results faster and with less struggle, this is exactly what I would do. Let's begin with the training because the way you start the gym can make or break your transformation. When I was a beginner, I wanted to learn more about training. When I started to consume more gym content, something interesting happened. I started to get more videos of try this new exercise to blow up your back, or don't do bench press, do this instead. And in those videos, they always tell you why their exercise is better than yours. For example, they say that it's more stable. This study said that. Or they say your muscle group has better leverage here. And when you're a beginner and you hear all of this stuff, you get convinced easily, so you switch up your exercises and your workout split. And then a few weeks go by, you see other types of videos that are just like that, so you switch up your exercises and workout split again. I fell for this mistake right here. It never felt enough. There's always this small change that if I were to change this, I will make a huge transformation in a short period of time. In reality, back then, I didn't realize that small changes are only small changes. They won't make noticeable difference on your progress. I didn't understand that consistency is more important than the most efficient workout split. So what I would do differently is just follow one workout split and have a few exercises per muscle group and just follow those. And before I tell you which workout split I will follow, I want you to truly understand this. Every single workout split is good and bad at the same time. Every single workout split has advantages and disadvantages. I have seen guys build insane physiques with the bro split and the upper lower split. They're the most opposite workout splits to each other, and they both work. And when you follow a workout split, don't try to go to the gym every single day. This is a problem I had in the first year of me working out. I thought that more was better. I went to the gym when I was in pain. I went to the gym when I was sore. And do you know what that led to? It led to a shoulder injury, and to this day it affects me. And I'm not the only one. A lot of guys want fast results, so we overtrain, injure ourselves, and learn from that mistake. So now the workout split I would follow is the Arno split. I will structure it so I go to the gym 3 days in a row and rest on the 4th day and repeat the cycle. I have seen that resting every 4th day is the most optimal for me, and the reason why I would follow the Arno split is because on day 1 on chest and back you can start with chest for one exercise, and on the second exercise you can train back. Then third exercise you train chest and you repeat the cycle. The same thing on day 2 on arms and shoulders. The beautiful thing about this is, for example, when you hit chest, your back is resting. When you hit back, your chest is resting. The same thing with your arms. Now there's another thing I would do differently. With my years of working out, there's something I've learned that would enable me to be super consistent with the gym from the get-go. In the beginning, you just go as a hobby, but over time, you start to take the gym more serious and more serious. I will go past that phase. I will be able to be super consistent from the get-go, and this thing is also why so many guys fail. Have you ever had those days where you just don't want to go to the gym? You're physically and mentally tired and you just don't feel like going. You tell yourself, I've been consistent for weeks. If I miss one day, nothing will happen. It takes time to build muscle. Missing one day won't change anything. And you're completely right. Building muscle takes time. You won't stop your progress, but there's a huge thing that happens to your subconscious mind without you realizing, and that is that your self-image will change. The best thing that can happen to you when you work out is to see yourself as an athlete. And the only way to see yourself as an athlete is to actually prove to yourself that you're an athlete. What does every athlete do? They train. They train almost every day because it's their job. They follow a diet because it's their job. The same thing applies here. I go to the gym. I follow a diet because it's my job. Even now, I still have days where I genuinely don't want to go to the gym, but I still do it because I'm an athlete. And the only way to become an athlete is to prove to yourself that you're an athlete. And you can't fake that. If you only go to the gym when you feel like it, over time, trust me, I've seen this over 100 times, over time you go less and less and eventually you will quit. This is why most people stop going to the gym because they only go when they feel like it. Your self-image is slowing down your consistency. So eventually your consistency is non-existent. You want your self-image to work for you, and the only way to do that is by proving to yourself you're an athlete. Now understand that on those days you won't be able to push 100% in the gym. That's fine. I myself only push myself to about 70-80% in those days. That's cool. As long as you show up, it's a W. That's what we want to do. We only want to show up and take those small wins and prove to our self-image that we're an athlete. And now let's go back to social media. When you consume gym content, you will see that there have been the longest debate about how many sets you're gonna do and how many reps you're gonna do. When I see those stuff, I'm thinking to myself, why are y'all making this more complicated than it needs to be? You're not helping anyone with all of these debates. And I remember when I was a beginner, I myself got confused. What is the best rep range? And honestly, I would say it's 6 to 12 reps. It's because if you go lower than 6, well, it's a lot harder to have the right form and technique, and honestly, you're just doing it for your ego. And if you go above 12, it's a lot harder mentally. So 6 to 12 reps is the sweet spot for me, but let's make it a bit clearer. On the big movements like squats, RDLs, bench press, you can go down to 6 reps. But on the smaller movements, for example cable ladder raises, it's almost impossible to have good form and technique with 6 reps. So on those exercises, do 10 to 12 reps. Your form and technique is more important than the rep range. And now, let's talk about how many sets you're gonna do per exercise. I like to do 3 sets per exercise, but for some people it can be a bit too much. So if you feel like that, lower to 2 sets per exercise. And now, if you tell me that you can do more than 3 sets per exercise, then I have bad news for you. Your intensity is too low. To stimulate muscle growth, you need to push the muscle to its limit. That means that you need to train to failure or close to failure. Intensity is more important than everything else. Now let's make it a bit clearer. On the exercises where you build a lot of fatigue, like your squats, RDLs, bench press, back row, you don't need to go to failure, but go close to failure at least. On the smaller movements, for example triceps pushdowns or dumbbell curls or ladder raises, on those exercises you need to basically always go to failure if you don't have any injuries. And the reason why you need to go to failure on the smaller movements is because it doesn't build any fatigue. You can handle it. And now, since we're overweight, we need to do a bit more cardio. When I look back, I realized that I barely did any cardio because I thought that cardio kills your gains. So I would start to prioritize cardio more than I did before. But remember this, cardio is not more important than strength training. It's still important, but strength training is number 1, and there are 2 ways I will go about doing cardio. You can either do cardio at the end of your strength training or do cardio on a separate day. It doesn't really matter, but me personally, I like to do cardio on a separate day. But what does matter is that your intensity can be too high. I like to do cardio on medium intensity because when your intensity is too high, it could potentially take away from your muscle recovery. Now we're done with the first part of the equation. Let's talk about how I would approach diet differently. There are 2 things I hate to see when it comes to overweight people following a diet. The first is overweight men who try to eat as little as possible, and the reason why they try to starve themselves is because they don't trust the process. They think that the calorie deficit doesn't work for them, somehow their body is different than everybody else. And here's the problem with that, starvation will mess up your body. You won't get enough nutrients, so you won't be able to build any muscle, and starvation is not even sustainable. So when you lose all that fat, what will you do then? You don't know which diet actually works for you or what you can stick with. So you will gain all that fat back, or you will go in between starvation or overeating with no balance. The second mistake, which I also followed in the beginning, was having a diet that's too strict. You see someone else's diet and you copy it. For 1 or 2 weeks it works great, but after that you quit. And here's why. It's because when you follow a diet, you build friction in your mind, and the only way to control that friction is through discipline. But when you have too strict of a diet and the friction is too high, your discipline can't handle it, so the diet will become too hard and eventually you will quit because your discipline can't handle it. So what I would do differently is not to follow the diet I have right now. I would just make small changes. For example, I would eat more meat. I will stop drinking liquid calories and drink more Diet Coke. I will lower my sugar intake by 30 to 50% in the beginning. These are just small changes that anyone can make, and honestly, they're not that hard. And in the future, if you want to make more drastic changes, you can do that if you're comfortable. But nevertheless, you will see huge progress no matter what diet you follow, as long as you're in a calorie deficit and you eat more protein and healthier foods. Maybe you have noticed I'm not trying to get the fastest results possible, and that's on purpose. There's something big that I've learned over the years of working out, and that is whenever you see those crazy transformations where people lose 20 pounds in 2 weeks, or they go from overweight to 6-packs in 3 months, you also want to do the same. You also want a short, impressive transformation. But here's the thing you don't think about. You don't see the other side. You see the top 2% who succeeds, but you don't see the thousands, maybe even tens of thousands who tried the same and failed. And because of that, you think that you can do the same thing. But trust me, it's way harder than it looks. Most guys who try to rush the process just end up failing. I don't want you to fall for the same mistake. Take the path that almost guarantees that you will succeed. My favorite quote is, "This is a marathon, not a sprint." I took the longer route and look at my physique now. If I chase the fastest results possible, I would not be able to have this physique. And now, to summarize everything in this video, pause the video and look at the screen. And one more thing, don't fall for the classic mistake of bulking. If you think that you need to bulk to build muscle, check this video right here. I explain everything there.